Hey, this is Dave Mason, and I'm with Yoga for DNA. I'm here with my doctor, Dr. Diane Grice, and we're going to talk about treatments in the office and specifically acupuncture, some gemstone work. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. So, yeah, there right now with in the current climate, I would say about 80% or so of my practice is virtual right now, telephone and Zoom and video. But I am seeing some patients in office, and there's because there's some things that you just can't do virtually. And those couple of treatments that I find to be really helpful and instantly shifting someone's emotional state and their energetic state are using acupuncture needles as well as using gemstones. And so I gemstone energy medicine is not part of the core training at the naturopathic school, but it is something that I obtained outside of school as I was introduced to it by a practitioner who I went to as a student. And I was very impressed by, well, to be frank, the ability of the gemstones to make me cry when I didn't want to cry, and I didn't want to let my guard down. And the practitioner knew that there was a lot that wasn't being said. And so she taped a couple of gemstones on some lung points that in Chinese medicine, these points are really helpful for grief and to help release grief. And just having these couple of gemstones taped to my chest, I instantaneously started crying, and I was really fighting back. And so I was impressed at the direct ability to influence my state and also support what was needed, and removing this obstacle that I was creating to my own healing. And there was no fighting back those tears when those stones were on my chest, which is exactly what needed to happen. And so I was very impressed by what they had to offer. And so I went and did some trainings, many weekends and courses over the last many years here. And so I find that you can use the gemstones taped to acupuncture points, which is what I just described. But the other thing that I'm doing a lot more of lately is working on the emotional field, the energetic field around the body that exists anywhere from like 4 to 10 inches off of the person. And what I'm finding is that a lot of people are feeling a lot of tension in their chest and in their stomach. I can't even, I've had at least 3 different people in the last week describe feeling like they're in a vice grip, um, whether that's emotionally or very often both emotionally as well as feeling this tension as well in their diaphragm or in their chest. And so I'm using often rose quartz, which is a stone that's helpful for connecting with emotions. And I'm using 2 little spheres in their emotional body, so a few inches off of their body, finding areas where it feels really tight and dense. And they call it an emotional body massage. And so literally just trying to fluff it up a little bit and get it from being really tight and um, compacted to being much more loose and much more open and bigger too. And so it's more free to feel, more free to express, but also not so physically tight. And so it's physically, very often the patient feels the difference on the table. And so it's a way to tangibly in the moment shift the energetic body that then allows this life force energy that's always coming in to flow a little bit easier. And then very often physical symptoms and physical sensations also improve too. Like earlier today, somebody was their headache that they were able to feel a shift with. And so sometimes the problem is on the physical. We need to give them magnesium because of their migraine, and they truly, some people are magnesium deficient. And so sometimes working at the physical level, like the example of zinc, can be really helpful. But very often, the problem exists on a more subtle level, on a more energetic level. And so, doing acupuncture, doing gemstone work is a way to work on the more spiritual side of things that then allows the more dense part of the person, the physical, to function better. And so then, the metabolism and all of that is better able to happen because the energy is coming in and flowing in a more balanced, harmonious way. So that's the couple of techniques that I have been willing to come into the office and see people with. So it's very helpful.
And I have had those treatments, and
Yeah.
that's about what they're like.
Feeling fluffy, feeling warm, feeling tingly, lots of different, often people light, feeling light, almost lightheaded, but really heavy in their feet, heavy in their shoes because anxiety and depression, we're bottlenecked. All this energy is stuck up here. It's not coming down. We're not able to ground and to anchor. And so part of what the needles do and the gemstone do, working on the physical body, is to help get that energy to move down into the legs and get that energy to come down to the lower chakras that often we think too much. And so having that time to lie on the table in that physical space, I think too, it's helpful to really get that state to change very quickly.
So, Dr. Grice's office is in Tempe, Arizona. If you'd like to visit her or talk to her, we can find you at your website, which is, I forget that. What's the address? We'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, it's just www.drdianegrice.com.